Okay, guys, as promised, 5 love languages: words of affirmation, quality time, receiving gifts, acts of service, physical touch. Okay, away from the book into me. Let me give you the basic premise. I promise you the best marriage advice that you'd ever receive in your life. Angela and I attended a marriage seminar, and it was life transforming years ago. We first got married, and here's what the day would look like. I was doing stuff for her all the time. I was filling her car with gas. I was vacuuming it. I was making sure it was always clean, taking care of her stuff. You know, obviously we didn't have 7 kids at that time, so we could focus on each other. She was always, hold me, give me a kiss, come here, give me a kiss, give me a kiss. And it was amazing because in her mind, she was being very loving. In my mind, I was being very loving, but both of us were feeling completely unfulfilled, because here's the foundation idea behind this book: that we give it out the way that we like it. We give it out the way that we like it. I felt most love when somebody's doing something for me, acts of service. Doing something for me, I'm feeling the love. Angela's physical touch. So I'm holding her, I'm kissing her, she's feeling loved. So here's what we were doing. I was giving to her acts of service without realizing wasn't making a dent. She was physical touch, which for me, I'm like, where's dinner? You know, do something for me. What the heck? And we both really desired to express love for one another. We both cared very deeply about one another, but we were giving it to the other person the way that we liked it without even being conscious of it. And that's the key. Most people are completely not even conscious of the fact that they're doing that. They're feeling like, I'm giving you the best that I got, baby. But it's not making a dent. And that's the reason why. So we went to the marriage seminar, we discovered it, and we talked about it, and she goes, well, what would that look like for you? I'd say, I don't know, I'd come home, and there would be like a tall glass of lemonade. You'd be like waiting at the door, like, here you go, sonny. I'd be like, oh my goodness. She said, you've got to be kidding me. I'm so, no, seriously, that's like huge. That's a very big deal. I mean, do something for me. And I said, what about you? And she goes, I don't know, you come home, and it's like, hold me, kiss me, just, stroke my hair, just be there with me. And I'm like, seriously, but your car's like totally dirty and empty with gas, and I know all the things that you need. And she's like, I would drive a flying trash can if you would just hold me. And I'm thinking, are you serious? So the hardest paradigm shift is making yourself do something for the other person that would not do anything for you, because it feels like you're kind of shortchanging them, because you're like, this is really no sacrifice for me to sit here and hold you and kiss you, but this is doing nothing for me. And she's like, okay, I want to show him a man I love him, I want to hug him, kiss him, but he wants a tall glass of sweet lemonade. Don't get it. So you don't get it, but you do it. But what happens next is unbelievable. You begin to see a complete transformation. So I come home and I'm like, okay, car needs gas, she doesn't care, go upstairs, hug her, hold her, kiss her, cuddle on the couch or whatever. And I'm going, I don't get it. And she's like, I'm like, she's like, tall lemonade, babe. I'm like, I'm like, wow, I'm loved, I love it. And it's crazy, but it really does work. It's pretty phenomenal. And for those of you that have kids, there's a book called The 5 Love Languages for Children, so that most of us can't spend the time that we would like to with our children. So figuring out what each child's love language is incredible. Victoria's words of affirmation: baby, you're doing great, you're wonderful, I love the grades you're bringing me home in school, they're fantastic. Stephen's physical touch, I wrestle with him for 5 minutes, his love tank full. Gabriella, quality time, no phone, no internet, nothing, we just engage with one another, I listen, hear, love tank is full. AJ, words of affirmation: you demand, you demand, you demand, buddy. This is how it is. Joshua is quality time as well. Christian, we haven't quite figured it out. You begin to figure it out because when they are in those moments of expressing love to you, or when the spouse is in the moment of trying to express love to you, subconsciously, they're not even really thinking about it, you begin to tap into, well, what am I doing when I'm wanting to show? And I'm thinking about, oh, I love my spouse, or, what can I do to express that? That gives you a clue of what your love language is. So read the book. It'll be life transforming, and I hope that helps you, because it helped us amazingly. Okay, promise on short sales. I'll keep it short and sweet as best as I can. Short sales are an alternative to foreclosing on a home. And why is that a big deal now? There's tons of foreclosures, because in the past, overall, the general rule of thumb is this: people would be frustrated, they'd be upset, they would stop maintaining the home, many would pull out the stoves, ceiling fans, kick holes in the walls. Now, different reactions and different price ranges, obviously. But the bank's asset would now be unprotected. And this winter weather we just experienced is a great example. Vacant house, no one taking care of it, no one taking care of the yard, pipes freeze, flooding, greater damage, vandalism, a number of things that can happen to an unprotected vacant house. So banks thought, if we keep the people in the house, by the way, that's a big benefit. People stay in the house, maintain the house, take care of it. One, it's going to show better on the market. Two, it's going to be taken care of. If something breaks, they're going to fix it. They're not going to just let a pipe freeze and walk around in water. And three, it gives the bank the opportunity to examine the possibility of taking a known loss right up front, K-N-O-W-N, a known loss right up front, rather than a guaranteed unknown loss once it goes to foreclosure. Because the house shows bad, it's vacant, it's ugly, it's full of roaches, it's vandalized, they're definitely going to lose money. So having the option to decide whether or not they're willing to come up short on the loan, i.e. they owe $300,000 on the house. The house is now worth in the current market $260,000. They sell it for $250,000. We as realtors present that option to the bank, and then we go through, not jumping through the normal hoops of a transaction in real estate, but going through like a hellish obstacle course with barbed wire and fire and alligators and piranha pools and shark tanks. It's unbelievable. If you ever seen the movie 50 First Dates with Drew Barrymore and Adam Sandler, the bank is Drew Barrymore and you're Adam Sandler. You could be working with them for like 4 months and have sent them tons of paperwork, get a different person and like, who are you? And what do you want? And we're like, you've got to be kidding me. And you have to have an incredible amount of diligence. You have to have a significant system in place in order to maintain that type of dialogue. Short sales are, 99% of the time, they're money losers for the real estate agent. But those of us that are in the business with a desire to help the people that need our help, that's an alternative that's viable. So, you win some, you lose some. You make money in other transactions and you're profitable and able to stay in business. Other transactions, it takes 10 to 20 times more time to close a short sale, if they even close. Because at the very end, the banks could say, well, no, forget it. We're just going to let it foreclose. And that's the difficulty we're experiencing, is that there's no set standardized 50-state model. Each state has their own promulgated forms. Each bank has their own process, and their processes are in the works. Their processes are still organic. They're still trying to figure out what it is that makes the most sense and what process makes the most sense. Back in April, the Obama administration implemented something called HAFA, the Home Affordable Foreclosure Alternative, which is supposed to standardize the paperwork for all 50 states and supposed to standardize a time frame so there's some accountability there, but that's still being hashed out. That hasn't even, banks that we call HAFA on say, are you following the HAFA guidelines? We've also been told the caveat is, oh, by the way, they're used to closing 10 files a month and they've each got 140 files on their desk, so be patient with them. So that's what a short sale is. It's an alternative to a home being foreclosed, where the bank's asset, the home, can continue to be taken care of. The people can continue to live in the house, so it's being maintained. And the banks have the opportunity of looking at offers that come in and seeing if they're willing to accept a known loss rather than an unknown loss. And you can't be crazy off ballpark with the pricing, by the way. You've got to have it priced fairly according to the market. They will then, once an offer is received, do what's called a broker's price opinion, get 3 BPOs, they'll get an appraisal, and then they'll make a determination and you negotiate. The hardest part for me as a listing agent is that most buyers don't have the patience to wait months and months and months and months for a bank to just even answer whether or not they're going to accept the sale. And that's the biggest problem we have right now. The timing is very slow, and that turns off a lot of buyers, because in the meantime, buyers could find something else, and they've got no obligation to move forward with that property if the bank hasn't responded. So somewhat of a catch-22, but it's a service that people need. And if you know folks that are, if someone shares their heart with you and says, I think I'm about to lose my house, give me a call. We can take care of them, make sure that they don't get kicked out of their house. There's ways to do it. So I hope that was helpful. 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman and the 5 Love Languages for Children. And now you know more about short sales than most realtors do, believe it or not. So I hope you have a great weekend. Enjoy this time with your family. God bless you. Bye.